Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. It is my intention with this video to give you the things that I think you need to know to help you make this the best month possible and learn some astrology while you're at it. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and see all of the resources I have there, including amazing new and full moon blogs to assist you in maximizing those power periods we have every month. If you are into how I teach and you want to learn for personal or professional purposes, check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Go to radicalprayerbook.com to see my new book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which has become a beloved favorite of my fellow spiritual seekers. So what's in the stars for you this month? I'm going to go into lots of details, so let's check them out now. Hello Pisces friends, I'm so excited to share with you the things that I see as potentials for you this month of August 2019. We've got two brilliant new moons this month, so many new beginnings. We have eclipse news still coming in, but so much less emotion and drama likely this month. Lot more chill, lot more sweetness as a potential this month. We've got more surprises in store, but the odds are that more of these are going to be happy surprises compared to last month. We've got a strong focus in certain areas of your chart for these happy surprises, which I'm going to go into more detail about. We've got, in general, a zestiness that is coming from this heavy emotion, so it's like a bubbling up and effervescence. And this month overall is one of my favorite months in the whole year for doing anything important of any kind. New beginnings, big steps. The eclipses may have brought in news, but along with some uncertainty. But this month, things can really start gelling from the opportunities that came then, and you get out of the cloak of the retrograde, out of the heaviness of the emotion, and into the action portion where things really start cranking forward. So I'm going to go into lots of details. I'm going to bring the charts on and show you the early, middle, and late degree charts and talk to you about the things I see as potentials for you this month. And then we'll talk about the general transits, and I'll go over my favorite dates of the month, and there are a lot of them, and any other things that I think are important for you for this month. So let's check the charts out now. Okay, so in order to make the most of some of the information I'm going to give you, you will need to know what division of Pisces you are. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about are going to be the same for all Pisces placements, and when they're different, I will differentiate. So early degree, you're pretty much the February born, or 0 to 9 degrees if you know your sun sign degree or you're watching for your moon or rising. Middle is around March 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees. And late is March 11th, or 20 to 29 degrees. Well, March 11th through the rest of the sign, that is, and then 20 to 29 degrees. Okay, so now let's see what's going on here. So I'm going to start with talking about, let's just get everything else out of the way except the middle degree chart. So the things I'm about to talk about will be true for all placements unless I differentiate something out, in which case I will show you the difference in the charts. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out is that there are a massive amount of aspects this month with the planet Uranus. Now, most of them are happy aspects. Uranus brings surprises. So most of the combinations where Uranus is going to combine with all of these different other planets are going to bring in happy surprises. And this is in your money section. Okay, so you can see Uranus is there. That's for middle. Uranus is there for early. And Uranus is even there for late. And those of you in the very late position, you still will have it close enough to the second house where it will have the same effect, okay? So the surprises this month, for better and worse, there are only a couple of ones that are a little bit more challenging. In the general transit that follows the Pisces specific report, I will go into more details about the challenging dates. But just know that there's a massive amount of activity in your financial sector. And you'll notice that this has been a theme for a while with you all, as I've been talking about, involving money and your value of things and your priorities changing and possibly erratic, switching back and forth, or revolutionizing how you see money, how revolutionizing how you use resources. This could be, environmental projects, anything having to do with sustainability or gardens and or any very expensive material items. It's that full spectrum, but lots of surprises there, as a lot of this energy is going to make aspects here. There are some challenges, but then as the planets move into Virgo, there are these sweet combinations. Okay, so first thing to note, lots of surprises and very likely surprises in money. And those can be for better or worse. Something else I want to point out is this energy of the 6th house is going to become very prominent this month. And again, this is for early, middle, and late degree placements. The energy of the 5th house is also still going to be prominent. So you can see, here's the late chart. So 5th and 6th lit up as the middle, and even the early. To a lesser degree, the 5th house is lit up for you all, but there is still some representation there. So we're going to include you in all this. So the 5th and 6th houses have to do with, let's talk about that so you know where there's going to be a lot of energy. So first of all, let's just, why is it that you have a lot of energy at some different times, okay? Every planet that moves into a field of experience, these houses are fields of experience that we have as humans, every planet that moves there, moves through those areas, are like participants in a party or attendees at a party or at a function of some kind. And the sign they're in is kind of the mood they're in. The planet they are shows the traits of their personality. And the house is where they're, what is the surrounding for them. All right, so you're going to have a motley crew of flavors of experience in this 5th house of romance, including possible surprises there and lots of new potentials for new energy. Children, okay, so kids, if your babies are your creative projects are there. Fun, hobbies, and by the way, this is a house of overindulgence in fun. So if you are susceptible to overdoing or have addictions that have to be wrestled with, this energy can definitely bring those up. All right, so lots of energy coming up in this party. There's a party in your 5th house, and all of this energy is going to be the theme. And Leo energy is festive, it's upbeat, it's zesty, it's sparkly and crackling with creative potentials. The 6th house is the house of pets. Okay, so some notable things with pets could come up. And health. This is a big health house, so focus on health. Now again, these areas of focus, or this party, or this, function, can be positive, it can be seemingly negative. It just is. It is what it is. You're slated to have this area highlighted for you. Okay, pets, health, work. If you're self-employed, it's your job, but if you're at, it's your surroundings, it's your coworkers. So a lot of energy and work, a lot of busyness, a lot of possibilities opening up. So this is an amazing time for work, basically. If you have to launch something important, I'm going to go over my favorite launch dates in the general section. Bringing anything out, it could definitely be really good for money. If you wanted to ask for a raise, I like the second half of the month better, but if you happen to be getting a review earlier in the month, then that's fine too. So this is a good possibility for raises, making more money, raising your rates if you're self-employed, getting business, new business. There's still the potential energy of old things coming back from the past, so contacts from the past helping you with work or jobs. This month is really wide open with anything from the past and anything from the present and anything that's new for the future. So it's really, really, really full of just endless potential. The mood of this month is also much more festive than last month, because even though the watery placements of Cancer that we move through go into nice angles with Pisces, and they were able to give you all kisses to your Pisces placements, it was still a very, kind of stressful, emotional month of July. But now that we're into August, it's more festive, it's more lit up with creativity, it's more, it's sparkling with just raw creative potential. And then the Virgo energies are very grounding. They're grounding for grounding out the Cancer energies that just passed, grounding out your Pisces energies, where you can get more of a footing. When there are a lot of placements in water, like there was recently, and you're a water sign, it's sometimes hard to find your footing. But in this month, it's going to be much easier to find your footing. So I love that for you. Okay, let's see what else. We've got 2 new moons this month. So this is just a wonderful time of new beginnings in a huge way. We've got a new moon right at the beginning of the month on August 1st, and we have a new moon right at the end of the month on August 30th. And those new moons are going to highlight these houses. Okay, so the 5th and 6th houses, there's the new moon in Leo and the new moon in Virgo. Say for early, middle, and late, 5th and 6th houses are highlighted. You early degree placements are going to start to have this whisper of energy, and also even with the second new moon, this energy of partnerships is starting to come in as a theme, and relationships. So the early people, you're going to start feeling this first. It's going to be staggered for middle and late, coming soon, but not yet for you all. This huge showing of energy is going to start moving into the 7th house. And for early Virgos, those of you at the beginning of the sign and early degrees, you're going to start to see all of this move into the relationship sector. But you can see notable relationship things occur, especially in the romantic sector or with relationships with kids, but it's not specifically focused on the relationship as much. It's like the energy of the romance is there, or the energy of the children. But here is like, the partnerships and clients and just pairing together with people for different reasons. So that's just a little snapshot of the energy to come. Okay, so for the early degree placements, Jupiter is really lighting up your 10th house, and this is going to be kicked off in a big way August 11th when Jupiter goes direct. Okay, so if you've had some stall outs with your career, Jupiter going backwards, kind of trying to solidify some things in the backdrop, you might find that your career and work things start rushing forward. Okay, so that's true especially for early. Some of you middle may be feeling this right away too, because the energy of Jupiter is close enough to that 10th house, even though for many of you it's still in the 9th house, or went back into the 9th house from the retrograde. It's in both places at once. I always liken this when there's something on, on a line like that. It's like if you are standing on the concrete sidewalk next to the beach and you're like, I'm not at the beach because the sand is like 2 feet away. You're at the beach, and Jupiter is at the 10th house beach. Expanding, bringing lots of possibilities. My late degree Pisces friends, you all have a little while longer, a few months before this, well, anywhere from a couple months to several months, before this 10th house really starts cooking for you, but you're going to have a longer time of it once the, it's going to last longer in here now, because once Jupiter starts to be moving on, to the 11th house for the early and middle, you're still going to have it here in the late. So you're not going to miss out on anything. It's just staggered. So if you haven't seen your work boosts, late degree friends, then you might notice that towards the end of the year. If you are a person, and this is specifically middle or late degree people, if you're a person whose work is in teaching, speaking, publishing, education, learning, traveling, international business, then you may find that you have had your work booming or having potentials to boom. Or with Jupiter going direct, you may feel this because when someone has work in the ninth house, then Jupiter in the ninth house would also enhance their work, even though it's not in the house of work, because, this space is ruling that for you. So those of you in those fields, you might start to feel some of those effects early. Okay, so for early, middle, and late degree placements, there's an energy of strong karma. You can see it's just a little staggered for you late degree placements, but this Pluto energy is definitely there, and this transcending South Node energy is there, and energetically even Saturn is influencing, even though it's not technically there. So 11th house, making you ask the questions about your surroundings, your friendships, your acquaintances, your groups, your tribe, where are your people, social media, your relationship to it. All of those things are being questioned, and there could be lots of karmic situations that are coming up to deal with. This could also be a time where you're crystallizing your work online. So it could manifest that way. Even inventions or any humanitarian efforts could be gelling from these long-term transits over there. There are a lot of sweet dates I'm going to put you on alert for when we get into the general transits, but one of them that I want to share with you now is August 21st. Okay, so August 21st, we're going to have a Mercury in Leo trine, which is the best aspect in astrology, Jupiter in Sag. Mercury combining with Jupiter can tend to bring in really good news and important news. All right, so at that point when it occurs, it's going to be, here, let's get this out of the way. It's going to be at 14 degrees. All right, so for you late degree placements, that's going to be either the 5th or 6th house and the 9th, which we'll talk about what that looks like. I just want to establish the differences here. For you middle degree people, that's pretty much going to be in the 6th and the 9th with possible whispers to the 10th. And then for you early degree people, you're going to have Jupiter in the 10th and then the 6th. Okay, so all Pisces placements have strong potential about wonderful news involving work. This can also be wonderful news involving health breakthroughs. Could also be something involving pets or animals for work. Could also be amazing news, and this is more going to be for the middle and late degree placements, but something about travel for work, or getting to spend time overseas, or some sort of opportunity with international business. So that's a really good one to watch. Just so many potentials for your work at this time, because the 10th house is work and the 6th house is work, and they're just lit up so amazingly. Now, if you're a person that doesn't have a job or want a job, this could have to do with, your dharma, your purpose in the world, something where you feel like you're giving back or you're assisting, volunteer efforts, some kind of life purpose, something where you're feeling like your work and your voice is being heard in a way where it's helping others. There is a long-standing potential issue for some Pisces with this first house, outer planet, Chiron, and Neptune transits. Okay, see, and that's early. Here's middle. And then here's late. Neptune's not there, but Chiron is there. So this is all going to be true for all of you. Health issues with some sort of genetic basis has an increase in chance of being an issue now. It's also possible that you're just looking into your health and you don't have anything wrong, but this would be a really good time to investigate things that you might be more predisposed to get. And at the same time, I do recommend this book called, and you can also look this guy up on YouTube, Bruce Lipton. He's one of my favorite people. The Biology of Belief. Okay, because people think that genetics, see, as you discover something, right, we're discovering how relevant genetics is to some of our health situations. But as you make that discovery, then it becomes all about, okay, I have this genetic situation and I am trapped and I can't get out of it. And Bruce Lipton says that couldn't be further from the truth, that actually true genetic manifestations are more rare, that it's more about our belief and the consciousness behind it and the thought patterns that were consistent with that transgenerational patterning that is expressing from the subconscious mind in these very, physical ways. So if you're a person where you want to, work with mainstream medicine, that's great. We need the diagnostics of mainstream medicine. I always highly recommend working with mainstream people. But if the answers they're giving you as far as your prognosis are not satisfactory to you, then check out Bruce Lipton's work. And you can still stay connected with your medical people, but then also work on some other dimensions with this quantum healing. So this could be very relevant for many of you. Any kind of genetic affliction, if you're battling it or if you're just discovering it, just remember how powerful our thoughts are, that they really do create our reality. I am going to get to the general transits, and I will let you know all of the beautiful days that those beautiful aspects are set to occur. But first, I have a surprise bonus on the topic that we were just talking about. And if you are interested in it, then great. If you're not, you can fast forward until you see me back on the screen. And then I will talk about the transits. But I highly recommend you listen to this little bonus, which goes into more information about how we can transcend negative astrological patterning. Okay, welcome to my special section on transcending negative astrological patterning. This has been a focus of mine for the entire time I've been doing astrology, which has been almost 2 decades now. I have always gone into astrology as a self-development tool, understanding what's going on so that we can use the information to create the best experience from it. Now, the more you follow astrology and you start to see the amount of things that are true that you can see in there, both from your wiring and the things occurring in the stars, then some people will start to get a fatalistic attitude towards it and think, wow, since all of that's in there, I must be doomed to continue experiencing that. And for many people and in many instances, that is actually occurring if you are not actively clearing the negative astrological patterning. There's a very complicated discussion as to what it is we bring in with us astrologically and where those pieces come from. But for this discussion, I'm going to focus on strictly the genes, the DNA, the genetics, okay? So this has to do with our ancestry, our bloodline, and things we pull in genetically. Now, we don't just pull in medical issues genetically. We don't just pull in how we look genetically. I believe that we pull in belief systems, and as we are imprinted with these potentials in the genes, we are then in a situation where nurture, our environment, can help to express those potentials or help to express different potentials. So, if you're feeling trapped in something that has been a pattern in your life, whether or not you also notice that that was a pattern in your genealogy, there are ways that you can get the better end of that. If there's something awesome programmed in, like you're a math wizard or an artistic genius, then yeah, we want to keep that, right? But we're talking about the negative astrological patterning, these belief systems that are creating our reality, a lot of times completely out of our awareness. And even when you start to become aware that it's in there and you're creating from it, the task of clearing it up is, very rigorous self-development. But it can be done. Those subconscious programs have to be dealt with because those are creating the environment for your cells, for your DNA to actually express. So I want to talk about a scientist. His name is Bruce Lipton. He's a stem cell biologist. You can find Bruce Lipton On YouTube, you can get his book, The Biology of Belief. Okay, this is landmark stuff here. And it directly relates to astrology because astrology shows us genetics, basically, that we come in with. And I'm seeing this more and more all the time. All kinds of genetic issues and genetic tendencies are being carried over. You can see them in the chart. Okay, so the biology of belief, you can find that to go deeper into this. But basically what happened, okay, so I'll give you the story of what's gone on because this is going to help empower you with the goal of transcending negative astrological patterning to understand this from a scientific perspective. Okay, so the basis of the biology of belief is that genes do not control life. Okay, that's a big bomb, right? Big bomb. So when Bruce Lipton was doing experiments that brought this epiphany, he was going into a cell and removing the structure called the nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus is the structure that contains the genes. So if genes control life and you throw away the nucleus, then there shouldn't be anything to control life in the cell, right? Okay, so he explains that there's a joke that the cells can live for 2.5 more months with no genes at all, and they still carry out all of the complexities of life. Move around, eat, breathe, you know, just they move through life. So then the first thing you have to ask is who's controlling the cells if it's not the genes, right? So this is a really big deal. Okay, so then the big boom for him came where he had, so basically he would put stem cells, isolate one stem cell and put it in a petri dish. Okay, then it would divide every 10 hours and after a few days he'd have thousands of cells. All right, so they're multiplying, they're dividing. So they all came from one cell, meaning they were genetically identical. So then he got to where there's like 10,000 cells in a petri dish, okay? Then he would divide, separate out the cells into 3 petri dishes. Okay, so he takes them from there and he puts them in there. Okay, so now these are genetically identical cells. Okay, this is the thing to note. Then what he did is he changed the growth medium. Okay, so the liquid in there, he changed. He made, so the cells are identical, but he changed the growth medium. Okay, so that's basically the constituents of the environment. All right, so these red and orange and green pieces, or matter here, that is representing different environments. Same cells, genetically identical, different environments. So then what happened was, the first dish formed bone. The second dish formed muscle. And the third dish formed fat. All right, so hopefully you're getting this. This is clicking because this is like, it's mind-boggling stuff. Identical. And then they formed all these completely different outcomes based on their environment. So what he is saying, and I concur, is that our environment is what is calling the shots. Now, of course, there are other factors, and we could nitpick and look at, and analyze, and nothing is as simple as one way, right? But this is a huge piece. So this means that if we change our inner environment and be mindful of our outer environment, we can start to change how the astrological potentials manifest for us in the form of our life and our experience. Okay, it's very exciting. Okay, so a basic summary is the environment includes a massive amount of factors, and we won't get into them all now. But included in the environment is our perceptions, which are shown when we look at the astrology, when we're looking at a chart, all of the different placements in there, different signs and houses, they're showing us a tendency towards perceptions. Tendency towards perceptions. And even the outer transits, when they're happening in the sky, when planets are getting together, certain configurations, they tend to create us having a tendency towards certain perceptions. A perception might be we're excited, hopeful. A perception might be we're like a victim and there's a tyrant, you know, so these different tendencies to have a perception, we can see those astrologically. So the tendency to have a certain perception is synonymous with karma. If we see something a certain way, we draw to us certain experiences. So basically, changing perceptions changes karma and changes the DNA expression, which changes potentials, which changes outcomes. So we can basically have more say in our lives by changing our perceptions. Seeing how the perceptions we have are creating our experiences. And sometimes they're deep inner, unconscious, subconscious perceptions, but you know you're having a certain perception because of the outcome. Like if you are having trouble with money, you know inside you have a perception that you can't earn money, that you, for whatever different reasons, you know, if you have a perception inside that you can't trust partners, well then you pull in people that aren't trustworthy, you know, things like that. So pinpointing perceptions, which you can do very nicely with astrology, shifting the perceptions with tools, like I always, you know, suggesting EFT and many other things, help to change those perceptions. And that changes the environment, which affects the whole cascade. It's very empowering. It does create a need for accountability, though. Like, our current circumstances are sourced within us and outside of us, but because that's part of the environment, but our inner environment, we can affect our perceptions, and then we can still change all of that. So you can see from all of this why I always talk about inner work and why I can't separate astrology from coaching or suggesting inner work and self-development, because how you experience the stars is going to depend on your perceptions. And if you want to have a better experience, you have to change the perceptions. Well, then you have to use the tools to change the perceptions. And that goes from a victim mentality to true empowerment, that we have the power. So you have the power. You have the power to change your life. You just have to be diligent, consistent with effective inner tools. I'm calling the theme of August 2019 for all signs, Happy Surprises Abound. This is one of my favorite months of the whole year for sweetness and magic and wonderful things. There are way more sweet aspects this month than there are salty ones. And in fact, we really only have two little troublemakers that I'm most concerned about, where everything else is just sweet. Now, do note that because we are so soon after the eclipses, that earth-shaking eclipse news can still be coming in from July, but they're not coming in from the aspects in August. Those are carryovers from these major events in July. If you haven't already watched my June and July reports, then definitely check that out, because there are pieces in there that are very relevant for this whole period of time. And in the June report, I go into the details about how each eclipse worked your sign individually. So I see those reports as a sister companion to this report as well. So this is a very unusual month. It's very rare that we have like at least 12 beautiful aspects and only 2 difficult ones. So we do have a couple of things to look out for. So I'm going to go into those things. The first thing we need to know is, besides the eclipse changes that are coming in and are starting to set foot, That's definitely still very current in August. If you had things come to you in July and you were holding off to officially sign or to officially put things into motion for the opportunities that came to you in July, I love the middle of August and after for that. There are some sweet days in the first half of August, but those are for more short-term contracts or ones of lower stakes. I am going to go into the dates that I love most for what here in a second, but just be aware that Mercury went direct right at the very end of July. So really at the beginning of August, we're very much covered in Mercury retrograde, and really until August 15th, there's, confusion or uncertainty or still ironing things out or kind of like temporary or bridge agreement type of energies. But it is a good time to wrap things up, but a lot of new things are also going to be coming in. So that's exciting. So the whole month is definitely very sparkly with zesty Leo energy. And this is burning bright with creative potential. This is, a wonderful month full of the combination of zest from Leo and grounding Virgo. And whenever we have energy like that, it really helps us to be super productive because there are so many potentials crackling around, but then we also have this, wherewithal and focus to do something about it. So it can really bring substance to that glowing creative potential. It's a truly magical time in the cosmos. So this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for taking big steps, for basking in glory of events that led up to come to fruition now. So basically for projects that have a shorter term intention, like a 6 to 9 month project or something that is just a carryover of something you've been working on, August 7th, 8th, 11th, and 13th could be great for that. For the ones that you are doing like a major launch, big steps, life-changing decisions, long-term things, long-term commitments, my favorite dates are the 21st, the 26th, the 28th, the 30th, and the 31st. So you can also get a write-up of the dates, why I like the dates, what could happen around those times, and other things to look out for a month ahead in your inbox when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So when you go to anniehelpsyou.com, you will get my write-up a month before the actual month, so you can have a written version of my general transit report for you. Plus you get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So you can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. So drama and stress are more likely in the days around August 2nd and August 16th. Those are the only times where, now, like I said, not to say that drama can't come from something in your personal chart. Our personal chart is something that we can't really take into consideration when we're looking at horoscopes because there are so many individual factors in your individual chart that we can't see in the horoscopes. But from the general horoscope perspective, it's very clear sailing. So I'm just going to point out the challenging ones. On August 2nd, we have this Venus in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So even though the theme of this month is happy surprises abound based on all this sweet energy and also a lot of sweet aspects with Uranus, which is why I have the word surprise in there, because Uranus tends to bring surprises. When it's in a challenging aspect, sometimes those surprises are not welcome. And this August 2nd one could be unpleasant or jostling, especially in the areas of money or love or your certainty within yourself. So definitely also guard your physical body with extra care and walk with more awareness, okay? Because it's more likely that something will come flying from a window when you're walking, or that you just have to pay more attention at this time and guard your physical body. And also just be aware that some bumps might come in that the areas of love and beauty and money. The second one that, again, this is an aspect with Uranus. This energy is very much the energy of surprises. And if you've been watching my reports over the last few months, you'll notice I've been using the word surprise a lot. And that's because eclipses bring them in. Sometimes they bring in something that we've expected and hoped for. And in that way, it's not exactly a surprise, but when it actually comes to fruition, it kind of feels like a surprise. So, but then sometimes eclipses also bring in surprises where we're like, we don't really like that. But eclipses have a similar energy to the planet Uranus, and Uranus brings in just like things out of the blue, jolts to your nervous system. And sometimes those are happy jolts, like I said, when they're in sweet aspects, but when they're in these challenging ones, that's when you got to watch out. So we have two of those challenging ones this month, the 1st and the 2nd, First one is on the 2nd of August, and the second is on August 16th. Now, since that one on August 16th is energetically combined with the full moon in Aquarius, that could be, even though it's a positive full moon in a lot of ways, and I love it for a lot of reasons, this combination of this other aspect being near it is a mixed bag, because you could have something sweet occurring at the same time as this surprise comes in. And since it's in Mercury, it rules news. It also rules mobility. So like being extra careful when walking and driving. And, you know, this is the standard place where we warn, don't text and drive. Don't walk and text. Don't be on your bike texting. Things where your physical body really needs to be minded more, or other people's. This is a time where you don't want to push your luck. So shocking news and other events are more likely. I have seen this manifest as a pleasant surprise, even though it's a difficult angle, but one that brings either exhaustion or some sense of like overdoing, or like you're being challenged in the way that something surprise has come in, but now you have to make room for it in an otherwise also very busy schedule already. So I have seen it manifest that way. But everything else is just sweet, 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 sweet. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits, is just a lot of sweetness. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You'll get to see more details about why I like those days that I listed, and what my why I think that they're amazing times for launches. So I go into like an itemized look at each day and each transit in that report. So if you love the way I teach and you want to learn astrology for personal or professional purposes, I can train you how to be a professional astrologer, and I can also assist you to just use it for yourself and your friends. You can check my program out, Astrology Apprenticeship Program, at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you like written horoscopes by me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And a month early, I have up more simple, less detailed, but still very helpful, because they're written and they've got very important pieces. And a lot of times I talk about different things for your sign than I talk about in the videos. So they're complementary in that way. So you can check those things out. Look at my book, radicalprayerbook.com, or you can just search for Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer, on Amazon. My wonderful little book of prayers and affirmations to help you live in your highest expression. You can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. And check out my husband's website, B.R. Newman, I Am Helios, IAMHELIOS.com, where you can see all the goodies and the things that he's getting himself into now that will be very helpful for you as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.